This show is brought to you by Go Live TV. Download the app now.
Joe Volpe, publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily, and Go Live TV, here with the comment of the day. And it's been a week. SNC-Lavalin, Liberal Party, Government of Canada, reputational damage galore, and brand erosion. That's what our comment's about today. Here it is. Drip, drip, drip. There goes somebody's reputation. That's our reputation that's being flushed down the drain. Thank you, SNC-Lavalin. Now, the company seems to have so thoroughly insinuated the Canadian political system that international bodies and jurisdictions are having a rethink about those values once attributed to the Canadian way. Upholding the rule of law, as an example, abroad and at home. Promoting human rights and democratic institutions everywhere, even if there's a cost of competitiveness, as another. Also, honesty in respecting the guidelines accepted by business community and government departments in the applying for and allocating subsidies indicated for the leveling of the playing field in the marketplace. In the last 52 weeks, SNC-Lavalin has traded at a high of $61.01. Yesterday, it opened at $34.49. Is there a correlation between the investigations of graft, bribery, and corruption? Various governing bodies from Asia, Africa, South America, and even here in Canada have leveled against its operating practices? The answer is a moving target. However, its CEO has foregone a scheduled bonus of $1.45 million for this last fiscal year, up from the $1.1 million that he earned in the previous one. Maybe he's got a conscience. The company lobbied heavily to mitigate the potential damage to its competitive position that any litigation might result. It demanded to have a deferred prosecution agreement, a DPA, included in the criminal code. Such a DPA would allow the Director of Prosecutions in the Office of the Attorney General to plea bargain a fine in lieu of a criminal trial for companies in violation of international and domestic laws. For instance, a company like SNC-Lavalin, if engaged in corrupt practices abroad, could presumably find itself facing those charges in Canadian courts. With a DPA, if it were to meet specific standards, it could possibly avoid the criminal justice system and submit to relief in commercial court. That way, it would continue to bid on government contracts posted by Canadian governments. Currently, upon conviction, such a company would be debarred from bidding on such contracts for 10 years. Now, the World Bank has already so debarred SNC-Lavalin after finding it guilty of what one might reasonably describe as corrupt practices in Bangladesh and elsewhere. Clearly, SNC-Lavalin has a financial interest in staying away from the criminal proceedings. About 24% of its business activities are in engineering and oil gas sector, including pipeline infrastructure. Sooner or later, Canada will build a pipeline to take bitumen and Alberta crude to the West Coast refineries. Else, why would they spend, or Canada spend, $4.5 billion to acquire the rights to do so from an American company? Now, Export Development Canada, EDC, is investigating the extent to which EDC has financed such corrupt practices by accepting a line item for technical fees, about 10% of the budget, and SNC-Lavalin's applications for EDC financing of its international projects. It turns out that the technical fees may be a synonym for bribes. If so, Canadians will have been taxing themselves to support activities inconsistent with their liberal democratic values. For what? For whom? Where's the public interest? We do ourselves a disservice to turn this into a partisan argument or into a personalized discussion of clash of personalities. Both of them would be roadkill for an SNC-Lavalin. For former Prime Minister Stephen Harper involved Canada in a war to dismantle the government and society of Libya for the sake of a few SNC-Lavalin investments in that North African country. Canadians booted him in 2015. Today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau seems poised to commit a similar error and to risk the same fate. Why? La Caisse de Dépôt, an investment arm of the government of Quebec, is a 20% shareholder in SNC-Lavalin. At today's share price, it can realize its long-term goal of 35% ownership at a much reduced rate than if it had acted a year ago. It's their business decision. Trudeau's bungling messengers have been unable to clearly define the Canadian interest in all of this. Maybe Canadians should welcome the positioning of Jody Wilson-Raybould and Jane Philpott. Why not let SNC-Lavalin go to trial? Then at least we'll find out. Joe Volpe for Go Live TV and Corriere Media Group, asking you to stay tuned for commentary in Italian. Meanwhile, follow us on all social media. Download our app at Go Live TV. Till later.